Welcome to Quiet Hearts. Tonight's story steps into that silent space between survival and surrender, those moments where fear, love, and desperation blur into a choice you never thought you'd make. Title: I was broke and desperate. My landlord made an offer I couldn't refuse. I never imagined my life would shrink down to one agonizing decision. The eviction notice sat on the nightstand like a ticking bomb. Final notice. I didn't show it to Ethan, just like I hadn't shown him the last one. He lay next to me that night, his chest rising and falling in the soft rhythm of sleep, his face still carrying the shape of the man he used to be, the man who could fix anything. That sense of control had vanished, slipping away just like our savings, just like hope. 3 months behind on rent. $41.82 left in our account. Ethan and I had been married 7 years. We'd been through so much together: job changes, medical bills, even the death of his mother. But this wasn't a storm we could brace for. This felt like drowning, like the weight of the water was too heavy to ever reach the surface again. He'd lost his job for months earlier. Corporate restructuring. It's nothing personal, they'd said. But I saw what it did to him. He stopped smiling. Stopped meeting my eyes. Spent hours scrolling job listings in silence while his coffee went cold. I did everything I could. Sold my clothes. Babysat. Took survey work for pennies. I even sold my wedding ring. Told myself love wasn't measured by a diamond. The groceries it bought were gone in days. Our apartment wasn't much, but it was ours. Now it felt like a countdown to failure. And then there was Adam. Our landlord. Late 30s, broad-shouldered, the type of man who looked like he could lift the entire building with one hand. He wasn't cruel, but he wasn't soft either. His rules were simple: pay on time or leave. It was just past midnight when I pulled on a hoodie and crept across the courtyard, barefoot, the ground biting against my feet. Adam's door smelled faintly of bleach and cigarette smoke. I knocked twice. He opened immediately. Shirtless. "Rachel," he said simply. "Can we talk?" He stepped aside without a word. His apartment was minimal. No photos, no clutter. Everything neat, almost sterile. I stood there, feeling small. "I know we're behind," I started. "I'm not asking for a handout. I just need a little more time." Adam leaned against the counter, watching me with unreadable eyes. "Time doesn't pay the bills," he said. "We're trying. Ethan's applying everywhere. I'm doing everything I can." He exhaled slowly. "I could evict you tomorrow." The words landed like a slap. "But," he added, "there's another option." My stomach turned. "What do you mean?" "One night with me. The debt's cleared." I froze. "You're joking," I whispered. "I don't joke," he said flatly. "You're an adult. You decide." I wanted to scream at him, wanted to run, but for one terrible second, my body didn't say no. It didn't say anything at all. I left without answering. The next morning, Ethan stirred beside me, mumbling in his sleep. I stared at the ceiling, every breath sharp as glass. 11 days left. Maybe fewer. I couldn't tell him, not because he wouldn't understand, but because he would. That afternoon I called my best friend, Claire. She could hear it in my voice instantly. "You sound wrecked," she said. "I haven't slept." "You're the strong one, Ratch. Don't fall apart now." That night Ethan came home with another rejection email. Overqualified, they said this time. He slammed his hand on the table. A plate cracked in half. Maybe we should just leave, he muttered. Sleep in the car. Start fresh somewhere else. With what? I asked quietly. He didn't answer. He just went to bed early. I didn't follow. Instead, I stared at our bank app, still $41.82, and sent Adam a message. Can we talk? 10 minutes later, I was at his door again. He opened it in a black t-shirt, his face unreadable. You sure? He asked. I nodded. There was no gloating, no smugness. He just stepped aside and closed the door. The bedroom was cold, the sheets tucked too neatly, like he'd been expecting me. You can change your mind, he said. Let's just do this, I whispered. What followed wasn't lust. It wasn't intimacy. It was survival. A transaction disguised as touch. He was careful, detached, like this wasn't the first time. When it was over, we dressed in silence. I came home to find Ethan asleep on the couch, his face soft in the glow of the TV. I stood over him and whispered, It's done. But it wasn't. The days that followed felt grey and heavy. Food tasted like cardboard. I forced smiles when Ethan looked at me. You okay? He asked one night. Just tired, I lied. We'll get through this, he said, trying to believe it. The next morning, the rent slip arrived under our door. Balance, $0. No note. No message. Ethan didn't ask how. I didn't tell him. Claire called again. You sound off, she said. I did something, I whispered. A pause. Did you get the money? Sort of. That doesn't make you a bad person, as she said softly. It makes you someone who survived. But I didn't feel like I'd survived. I felt like I'd fractured, like a mirror cracked into too many pieces to ever reflect the same way again. A week later, Ethan landed a job. Logistics. Long hours, but it paid. He was elated. I wanted to match his happiness, but the weight in my chest made it hard to breathe. I passed Adam once near the mailbox. He didn't even look at me. To him, it had been nothing. To me, it was a scar no one could see. That night, I stood in front of the mirror and traced the faint lines at the corners of my eyes. Not ruined. But not whole.